And so to get to Tim Twentyman, he also did talk about some things that he took away from just today and the last couple of days from OTAs. So let's read Tim Twentyman's takeaways. And to start us off, there was a little bit of some tempers flaring. He says tempers flare. There was a scrap, two of them actually. And it says here there were a couple minor skirmishes between offensive and defensive linemen in the first 11-on-11 team period. After the second one, head coach Dan Campbell stopped practice and brought everyone in to have a little talk. No more shenanigans followed. Defensive lineman Aiden Hutchinson was asked about it after practice, and he said it's a part of changing the mindset on defense. So, fellas,
love that.
They want to be dogs. They want to be nasty. They want to scrap.
That's what you want to hear out of the defensive line. You needed that from them. Last year, I don't know if that was the case, especially going up against Penei Sewell, Taylor, like Frank Ragnow, these guys. Like, give us some juice. Give us something, boys. That's Matthew Betts in there going up to, Penei, being like, here we go. Let's go. Me, you, now. I'm just kidding. But no, you know what I mean? Like, that's like, you need that juice from the defensive line. It's like, finally, there's some juice from it. Like, that's something we haven't had. Maybe that's the Terrell Williams coming in and being like, hey, boys, like, what are we doing? You guys are soft. It's time to man up.
Are you saying that Charles Harris didn't bring the juice, Booner?
No, neither did the Akora brothers. I called for their jobs week 2. Like, get them out of here. Like, I was ready to move on. Now they got some dudes in here. Mark, I know you hate Marcus Davenport, Klotzy, but at least that man brings a little juice to the party.
We don't hate him. We think he's a fine edge rusher, but that really speaks to Tyrell Williams and AG even. Like, that's one of the things, the vocal points. We needed that defensive line to bring some energy, and for them to show it this early is a very good sign.
Yeah, I mean, they hear the noise. They hear us. Matty Betts, I'm sure, is on Twitter. He hears everybody criticizing him. To your point, Booner, I don't hate Marcus Davenport, but I'm definitely one to give Marcus Davenport some criticism. And even guys like Josh Paschal, this whole defensive line outside of pretty much Aiden Hutchinson and DJ Reader, I think even Lee McNeil being on a contract here has a lot to prove. So seeing these guys getting after it this early, it's definitely a hopeful sign instead of, oh, just another year. Let's just get through walkthroughs and OTAs. Like, no, these guys are hungry. Rookie like Mekhi Wingo.
Yeah, he's looking at Matty Betts, sizing him up, going, yeah, I could take this. I could get this guy's job.
Iron sharpens iron. Penei Sewell and Matty Betts.
that ain't iron sharpening.
Like iron sharpening dirt.
Yeah, I was gonna say, does bronze? I mean, is that sharpening iron? I don't know. I don't even know. Bronze might be a little friendly. If I'm being honest. He would absolutely. You know what? I'm being disrespectful. He's probably a very, very great guy. Great guy. I'm sure he's a family man. I'm sure he's maybe he's a God-fearing man. But in terms of making Lions, he ain't making that team. All right. Unless there's a scenario where he's like, you know what, Matty Betts, absolute dog on special teams. We need some special teamers in here. Then but
right up back.
Yeah, but he'll end the season, I promise you, with probably 0 sacks. All right, because if he
make another bet, you want to make another bet? We can make another bet.
I'll make that bet too. Matty Betts, no chance.
So there's a contingency. So we have the bet if he makes the roster, and then there's a parlay in there if he gets no sacks. Are we going that?
Yeah, pizza for both. A pizza if he makes the team. If he doesn't make the team, and then later on the year he gets on the roster and ends up getting a sack, I get another pizza from you, back one from you.
Booner's like hedging his bet.
Yeah, but if both happen, I get 2 pizzas.
He ain't getting a sack, so I would.
So I'll go for it. I think I'm going 2-0 with that.
Wait, hold on. Gentry has doubt? Hold on.
2-0. Let me go 2-0 real quick.
Wait, Gentry, you don't like my side of it? You don't like my side of it?
No, I do.
Okay.
Make it 2 pizzas. If I was taking this bet, I would take Jeff's side.
Okay, that's my guy. Okay, I was just making sure I listened to you, Gentry. I listened to you. If you said it was a bad bet, I would have taken it. Yeah. All right. So hey, here we are, Matty Betts season. Now that's how desperate we are. But anyway, let's get back to the article here. So Tim Twentyman, he also writes "Up and Down Day" is the little headline there in bold. Second-year quarterback Hendon Hooker is getting more and more comfortable in coordinator Ben Johnson's offense. Campbell said before Thursday's practice that Wednesday was a great day for Hooker. I thought Thursday was up and down for him. He missed a couple throws over the middle. He'll like back when he sees them on tape, but he also showed terrific touch on the sideline pass to running back Jake Funk. and hit
Shout out.
I'm sorry.
What you know about that?
Jake Funk. Okay, let's
Scotty Montgomery guy.
Hey, let's keep going. Okay. And hit a tight window throw to wide receiver Darius Fontaine over the middle for a completion.
The video.
Hooker, see, he gave him some love there. Hooker ran a nice situational period, putting the offense in field goal range after starting from his own 37 with 1 minute and 19 seconds on the clock. Hooker received all the second team reps in the 2 open OTA practices so far. So in terms of being the backup quarterback, this is good. Now they're throwing him out there, seeing what he's got. Can he compete? A little minute left on the clock. Can you get some points against everyone in no pads?
Got 3
with no pass rush, really.
Crunch time. The big lights were on. How are you going to respond?
Yeah, it's OTAs. They're probably bumping Kendrick Lamar or something in the background. He's just out there playing.
I can tell you that much.
Lights are bright in Allen Park.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. If I'm being honest, the big thing here is the fact that he's just at least slowly getting there. I just don't want Nate Sudfeld to be the backup. And maybe the backup quarterback's not even worth a combo, fellas. But
no, it is. No. Backup quarterback is always, when you have a Super Bowl team. I know, if a quarterback goes down, your season's over. But if you have your quarterback Jared Goff go down for a game or two, can you get someone maybe just go 1-1 in that stretch instead of going 0-2? Can you do if Hendon Hooker? It's only week 2 of him. The positive news that I took out of it is that he took all the second string snaps instead of Nate Sudfeld, which means that improvement, they're seeing it. Like Dan said the other day, the improvement that they saw a couple days ago, that was what they want to see. And then that turns into him taking all the second team snaps. By the time the season comes around, I want him to be obviously he's not going to be as experienced as a Teddy Bridgewater, because Teddy was in the league for so long and started games and all of that. But you need him to get as close as you can to that, to that level, to where if Jared misses a game or misses 2 games, you have to have someone that can just keep you in games to give you a chance to at least go 1-1, 2-1, whatever it is. Yeah. So that is a conversation, Jeff.
I refuse to believe that Hendon Hooker just stepping on the field, even if it was day 1, is not better than David Blau, Tim Boyle, or Nate Sudfeld. I will refuse to believe that. So I do think, though, to Booner's point, that backup quarterback is incredibly important, and it shows when you need one. So, I mean, I know the Colts didn't go to the playoffs last year, but look at the Colts last year. I mean, if they didn't have Gardner Minshew and they had Tim Boyle back there, they'd probably be picking a top 3 pick in this draft, which honestly probably would help them out. But you never want to have just some bum sitting back there at your backup spot, especially when you're a Super Bowl team with a tough division. You need a solid backup.
And someone in the chat said Sudfeld is hurt. I have no idea if that's true or not, but either way.
No, he is. He is.
Well, but still. Guess what? Now Hendon's getting those snaps.
Yeah, he's dealing with something that was told to us by John, I believe. But the fact that it's not even that he's getting the second team reps, because that's expected, but that he's doing something with it. That's what I'm like, okay, at least he's doing something out there.
What did Sudfeld hurt?
It's a minor thing. I think we talked about it last week. Hendon Hooker was taking his reps and he was getting double the reps, because Nate Sudfeld was out.
Holding a clipboard or something.
But
and by all means, dude, I usually hate watching preseason if I watch it at all. But there's an incentive this year that you get to watch Hendon Hooker, tear it up in preseason, hopefully. So it's exciting, man.
Well, another player to keep an eye on here, Goff to JMO connection, which Tim wrote about. He says Williams is expected to have a much bigger role this year as the number 2 receiver behind Amon-Ra St. Brown. Goff and Williams hooked up early in practice during that 7-on-7 period deep down the right sideline for a touchdown. Williams showed off that terrific speed, beating cornerback. Okay.
Hey, that was a starter last year. He's beating an NFL starter.
And making a nice over-the-shoulder catch. That's important. Over-the-shoulder catch. It earned a fist bump from Goff after Williams crossed the goal line. The 2 later connected on a 29-yard pass in a situational team period that helped set up a field goal. And then Tim also writes, speaking of St. Brown, he looks to be in midseason form, which is to be expected given his work ethic and consistency over the last 3 seasons. He was all over the field catching passes from Goff Thursday. Expect a monster season from St. Brown in another year of Johnson's offense. Hey, Jameson Williams making some noise. He's just keeping people talking. He's just keeping people talking. He's out here making plays.
Do you guys remember last year at this time, like those conversations were like, oh, Jamo dropped the pass or Jamo's struggling, this and that. Like he's in year 3 now, and he's just expected to go out there and do that stuff. And you love to hear that. And yeah, I think John said he's dropped a pass or 2 and this and that. Like things have happened, but I think just hearing some positivity coming out from the Jamo camp is good. And fellas, I just want to throw this out there. The Amon-Ra St. Brown thing, you didn't think, and Jeff, you're not a proponent of it, but you're someone that we've had the conversation of how much more can Amon-Ra do. Like there's going to be a point to where like he can't go over there because you have so many weapons. Hearing Amon-Ra St. Brown in OTAs is in midseason form. It makes me feel like what is he going to look like when the season comes around? Like what is he going to look like in the middle of the season? He's going to be that much better. And I think we talk about it all the time. Like St. Brown isn't one of those guys that just gets to where he's at and he's like, I'm cool with that. Like I'm good. He's going to keep getting better and better, and he's going to keep making those catches, and he's going to keep working out with John Brown, and he's going to keep doing all of that. Like we had Mo on the show, and he's worked out with John Brown, and he told you what it's like. Amon-Ra St. Brown's going to keep getting better, guys. And the one thing we haven't talked about with St. is this. Josh Reynolds left. We keep asking people, oh, where are those catches going to go? Is Jamo going to step up? Is DPJ going to step up? Is Khalif going to get more? Is Gibbs going to get more? Why not Amon-Ra St. Brown? Why hasn't anyone said, hey, Amon-Ra St. Brown's going to get 300 more yards to replace Josh Reynolds? He's going to be the one that goes out there and gets 1,700 yards.
Good point, Boone.
Like no one's brought that up yet. This is like I was sitting here and I read that and I'm like, wait a second. We keep asking who's going to take Josh Reynolds' yards, that 600 yards of a difference. Amon-Ra St. Brown has gotten gradually better every year. When you think he can't get better, guess what? He's came back every season and he's increased stats. He's going to do that again this year. And he's going to end up taking some of those yards from Josh Reynolds. And he's going to go, what did he have this year? What was it, 1,500?
I believe 1,400. I could be wrong. Might have been 15. Might have been 15.
Don't be shocked. This is the conversation, guys, that we have had, and I've brought up a couple times that I feel like at some point in his career, Amon-Ra St. Brown's going to be in the conversation for Offensive Player of the Year. I think this is one of those years to where you lose Josh Reynolds, Amon-Ra St. Brown's goes out there and gets 1,700 yards, 10+ touchdowns, dominates. You're the number 1 seed in the NFC, and there's going to be no choice but to say, this man might have led the league in receiving yards this year. We have to give it to him. Don't forget, Jeff, he's the Yak King this season.
Yes.
He's the Yak King. Don't be shocked if he ends up leading the NFL in receiving yards one of these years. And you know what? I want you to say something negative. I'm going to clip it and send it to him so he can put that up in his locker.
No, it's not. Okay.
He can use that as motivation.
This is where we have to draw a very fine line. I am not being negative. I'm trying to be realistic. Okay?
Yeah.
And what my hear me out. I never said Amon-Ra can't do. No way. He doesn't have it in him to get that many yards. I've never said that. What I am saying is Jared Goff, he loves to spread the ball around, right? I know Amon-Ra St. Brown's going to get his, obviously. But I don't – in Ben Johnson's offense, they want to spread the ball around. They have a lot of weapons. Like, this isn't like – you know, I always think of – when I think of guys that were fed that had a lot of production, I think of Cooper Kupp, which go look at that year, who they had on the Rams. Go look at that. They fed Cooper Kupp. Calvin Johnson, obvious reasons. No, I don't really need to explain more. You go into CeeDee Lamb. Look at that. Look what they had. I mean, he was getting fed at the end, he doesn't have the hands like Amon-Ra, but I don't know if Amon-Ra will be fed like that. I think there'll be a collection of guys that are going to, maybe he can get to, can he get to, 16, maybe he can lead the league in receiving. Yeah, I'm not saying he can't. I'm just curious. I don't know if they'll have that type of setup where it's like feed Amon-Ra St. Brown. Like, they got so many guys. We talk about, you just mentioned the other day that Jameer's going to increase his.
I do, but
how many yards is Jared Goff throwing?
But Jeff, we haven't had the conversation yet about Amon-Ra getting those catches, because how many catches did Josh Reynolds have last year? 40, 50?
Yes.
So but those got to go somewhere.
Jamo had 300 last year.
And I agree. Jamo's going to get more, but we haven't had the conversation of, hey, maybe they want to use Amon-Ra more. He is the Yak King in the NFL. When you have the guy in the NFL that has the most yards after a catch, maybe if you need to spread the ball around more because you lost one of your key players, maybe you give the ball to the guy that has the most yards after a catch in the entire NFL. Like, that is an opportunity to like go out there and do that. And I get there's weapons, but like Jeff, Tyreek Hill, 1,700 plus yards. How many weapons did they have?
Okay.
But Boone, that's where you gotta. Tyreek Hill.
He brought up CeeDee Lamb as a like. I'm going to bring up another one.
I think if you look at CeeDee Lamb, especially if you look at their running game, like Tony Pollard, like they weren't running the ball, and Brandon Cook did have a couple games, but it was pretty much CeeDee Lamb. And the times when CeeDee Lamb wasn't getting fed, it was going to Jake Ferguson. I agree with you that probably like I could see him going up 100 yards, but I don't know about 300 just because I do think the Lions are going to have more success as a team overall. Jared Goff's not going to be in a position where he has to be throwing the ball as much, and it's a run-first offense. I think if you look, Miami is a run-first offense, but if you look at Mike McDaniel's that passing attack, it's so calculated with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. Then you look at guys like Justin Jefferson. He's getting fed the ball there too. So I get what you're saying. I could see a production increase. I could see like 100, 150 yards, but I do also think that the Lions just situationally are not going to be in a position where they have to feed Amon-Ra that type of role where he's a Tyreek Hill, CeeDee Lamb, Justin Jefferson, you name it.
You said that perfectly. And that's kind of where I'm coming from, Boone. That's kind of where I'm going. But with the 2,000-yard potential backs, it's like, they're and the defense is better, more stops. They're playing with the lead, run the ball. Like they're not going to be down, all of that, but as much.
He was 250 yards or something away from leading the league last year, and he missed a football game. So, like, if he plays in all the games this year, like, you're going to think that Amon-Ra, especially with losing your number 2 wide receiver. I know there's going to be guys to fill in, and there's going to be, but you have to think, like, Amon-Ra is your vet. He's the guy you're going to lean on consistently when it comes in that wide receiver room, especially losing a vet like Josh Reynolds. So it's like, I don't think it's crazy to say, hey, Amon-Ra St. Brown, you just lost your wide receiver number 2. I know you need J-Mo to step up, and you expect him to be 2. You expect DPJ to fill in a role. You expect Khalif to be there. But, hey, think about this. What happens if right away some of those guys don't end up doing that instantly and it takes some time? You're going to lean on a guy like Amon-Ra St. Brown, and you expect him, a guy like him who works as hard as he does, and every year he improves. You would think he goes out there and he's probably going to have another 1,500 yards. Adding another 200 to it to when you're trying to find kind of that new offense because you lost one of your main weapons, I don't see that as like a crazy outlook, being like, hey, what happens when you need, your team needs someone to lean on? Who do you lean on? Your best player, and that's Amon-Ra St. Brown at the end of the day. And obviously some guys are going to get better, but I don't see targets getting taken away from Amon-Ra St. Brown. I see more targets getting thrown his way because you're losing wide receiver 2 and you have some younger guys that need to step up. So that's why for me, when I think about that and here, he's already in midseason form, it's like, okay, he's probably going to get a couple extra targets, a couple extra weeks this year. If he stays healthy, like, those targets for him, that's yards after catch. He can add another 200 on. And remember the conversation we had about the wide receivers, guys? There's been guys that have led the NFL in wide receiver yards with 1,600 yards, 1,500 yards. So I wouldn't be shocked if he ends up doing that and puts himself in an opportunity to do that and be Offensive Player of the Year. I would not be shocked.
I mean, I still think he gets fed, and I still think he gets, more catches than he did last year, obviously, with given how the offense has restructured. But I still think they keep it honest. Laporta's going to get his touches. I think it's really about filling the void of Josh Reynolds with J-Mo, and J-Mo really progressing because, like Lukas said, you still have the best RB duo in the league. You have the best offensive line. You kind of want to stick to what works, and that was running the ball and the play action. So I don't think he's going to get crazy amount more than he did last year, but I do expect that it will be a little bit more, and he'll continue to increase year by year. So I agree with you in that instance, Booner, but you still got to stick to the run game, and the biggest thing is about filling that void with Jameson Williams and him really progressing and taking Josh Reynolds' place and being better than him.
Yeah, I mean, no, Lukas, you got something? Because I
was just gonna say, I think. Not saying because when I say this, it's going to sound like I'm disagreeing with what you're saying, Booner. I do think that Amon-Ra is going to be, again, especially in the receiving game, Jared Goff's guy. But I think offensively this year, the focal point is going to be Jahmyr Gibbs. That's why, especially on the ground, I think another reason why Amon-Ra is a guy that absolutely, if he was in a different situation, 1,800 yards, especially if a team's trailing a lot. But this year, I don't know, man. I think that's where Amon-Ra could be the focal point, but I do think it's just going to be who are you looking to give the ball first to? I think it's going to be Jahmyr Gibbs.
That's where I think I don't know. I just don't think that Ben Johnson looks at it like our focal point this year is Jahmyr Gibbs. I think that he's going to do what he did last year. Maybe he's going to get more touches. And I've agreed with you that I think Jahmyr is going to be a a Pro Bowl, all-pro running back in the next year or two. I don't think that's how they look at it at all. Like realistically, they're not like, hey, now the offense runs through Jahmyr Gibbs. Like, no, you just had an all-pro wide receiver. You have an all-pro.
But that doesn't take away from that. But I
think
like
we're going straight through Gibbs. Like what? That's not.
I mean, I think if you look at it, it's a run-first team, and a huge part of their passing game is going off and using the play action. When you have a running back, you take 12th overall and is playing like a running back that you take 12th overall. And again, you have a better defense, offensive line, especially with Zeitler, is going to improve in the run game. Jahmyr Gibbs is going to be making big plays, and he's going to be one of those guys where it's hard not to give the ball, especially when it's so much easier to hand the ball off than having to worry about Jared Goff making a throw. Not saying that Jared Goff can't, but how much easier, more consistent is that? And I just think Jahmyr Gibbs, run first team, I think a top 5 running back, I think top 3 running back. I think by default, that's who the offense goes through. There's a good balance there. Like Amon-Ra's still going to get fed. But I think it's just easier to look to Jahmyr Gibbs first than Amon-Ra.
That's where I don't know. I disagree a little bit. I think Jahmyr Gibbs ends up being top 5. I just think being like, hey, it's Jahmyr Gibbs' show now. Like Ben Johnson, like he could have anyone on his team. He's never going to be like it's this one man show.
I'm not saying that. I'm just
that's
saying
what it feels like though. Like that's
but last year, like Amon-Ra was the focal point. Sam Laporta was still going off. David Montgomery was still going off. But who did they look to first? Amon-Ra. I think year 2, Jahmyr Gibbs. I think we could see his transition. Could it be another year from then? Yeah, but I could very well see it being this year.
And I'm, you guys are a little higher on what Gibbs can do in terms of where he can rank. My point, and you took the Gibbs angle, but my angle is just the run game. I just think they are a run for, and I don't really disagree with what Booner's saying about Amon-Ra in terms of character. Like he's good. He's always going to improve. He works his ass off. But it's the point I made about Laporta. Like, let's say like Amon-Ra matches his yards from last year. He can still improve, but have similar statistics. But leading the league in receiving yards, like, yeah, I guess it depends, Boone, because like you said, if you get 50, I think you can get 1,500. If 1,500 leads the league in receiving, like, yeah, I mean, you're right. But like, I don't know. I'm curious if this offense all of a sudden just changes and they're like, we're going to get Amon-Ra like 1,900 or whatever. 17.
I don't think, again, guys, I don't think it's me. I'm not saying they're going to move the focal point towards Amon-Ra. It's, hey, feed him. I just think like Ben said in his press conference yesterday, we have to find a way to get those. Like, I want to look it up right now. Josh Reynolds, how many catches did he have and targets did he have? Like, we got to figure out, all right, where are those going to go to? And yeah, you expect that to go to Jameson Williams. He had 40 catches. You expect those 40 touches to go to Jameson Williams and DPJ and those. But again, like some of them can go to Jahmyr Gibbs. Some of them are going to go to Amon-Ra St. Brown, et cetera, et cetera. Like that's going to happen there. Like some of those guys are going to get a couple more touches. And I agree with Lucas. I think Gibbs gets a lot more. I think DeMont gets some taken away and it goes towards Gibbs because we know what he is. Well, that's kind of my argument a little bit with it.
Can I ask you, and I'm being serious. Like so JMO, let's say Josh, what did Josh have? 600? What was it? He had like 600 yards, something like that?
600 and something yards, yes.
So if JMO had 300, and we all think JMO, would we agree JMO could get like realistically like at least 800? Can we go like
700?
I think he can, but is he guaranteed to? No, but I think he can.
Okay, so well, in your scenario, if JMO's like a complete bust, then yeah, like they're gonna they failed, and
I don't
he's
think
gonna
he will be,
but let's say he is good and he gets 800 yards. There's 500 more. You want Gibbs to get 200 more receiving yards? There's 200 more. So now we're at 700.
I see what you're saying.
So you get where, and then like Laporta, so he'd have to stay the same then, Booner. He'd have to stay the exact, because if Booner, he gets another 150, now we're at almost 1,000 more yards, and we haven't even touched Amon-Ra's production. You get where I'm coming from here? I'm not trying to.
I do, but I just think there's like something's gonna happen. Like I just don't see Amon-Ra being like not him personally, but you relied so much on him. Like Gibbs can take on a role as well. But I think like Amon-Ra, he's just one of those guys to where that's like part of you. Yeah, like I don't see him going out there and getting 1,200 yards this year. Like another 1,500 yard season, like that's an expectation, I'm sure, for him and for this Lions offense, and they rely on him a lot. Like you just don't go away from someone that you went to the NFC Championship game with that was your number one option and your reliability source, and just go, hey, let's just switch that up to Gibbs or JMO. Like he's going to get that 1,500 again, and if not, he's going to improve his game, and he's getting better. Like someone put it in the chat, I can't remember who it was. It was Sick Argument. He put it in there. He was like, Amon-Ra even mentioned that like he expects to have the same amount of catches. He probably won't get more, but he wants to get better in yards after catch. And like him going into the offseason with that mindset, think about that. He's going to go into this year knowing that he needs to get more yak, and he's going to do that. And that's going to take him from 1,500 to 1,600 maybe. I just don't think it's crazy to think of, like, I'm sure this is the conversation a lot of us had 2 years ago with Amon-Ra, being like, oh, I don't know if he'll ever get to that all-pro level. And guess what? He did it within a year or two. He was an all-pro, first team. So it feels like a similar thing.
And I get what you're saying, Boone. I don't want it to be like we're like debating his like potential. It's not that. I think it's debating opportunity. That's what we're debating. Because like we all agree, Amon-Ra St. Brown's the hardest working dude, one of the hardest working dudes in the NFL. Like I'm not going to put a ceiling on him. But like I said, you could still be a better player, but the production is relatively the same. Like that. So it's all about opportunity. You think he'll get more of an opportunity? I'm curious. Maybe the yak increases to your point, and he gets more yards.
I mean, for context too, guys, like, I mean, think about Julio Jones, like in his career, he was in a situation where you could say that he gets fed, and you go down his game log after, if you want to start basically in 2014, which was when he had his first 1,500 yard season, he then went to 1,800, but then he went down to 1,400, then another 1,400, then 1,600, but down to 1,300. So I think there is going to be points where Amon-Ra, it's hard for pretty much anyone to hold 1,500 yards as their standard. So I think there are going to be years when he does dip statistically. But then again, like if you watch Julio Jones throughout his career, he got better and better each year. And I think, Booner, that's what you're saying as well. But I think we might push back a little bit as far as the production increase. But I just think it's important for we don't act like if Amon-Ra doesn't get 1,500 yards, like what's happening. I just think
no. So that's the thing. Like if he doesn't get it, I'm not going to see it. Like we're still going to have a top 5 offense and win football games.
Right.
It's just I do believe that there's a chance he increases. And again, like I said from the beginning, I think there's a chance he go out there and get 1,700 and put your name in the hat for Offensive Player of the Year. I'm going to put a bet on it. He's like plus 1,200 or something. Like I don't think that's a crazy bet to take. If he goes out, he's plus 2,100. That's not a crazy bet to take. If this offense is his offense and you lost Josh Reynolds, I wouldn't be shocked.
If it's plus 1,200, that's not good odds, but plus 2,100, I can maybe get down with.
And look at the guys that he's ahead of. He's ahead of Bijan, Puka Nacua, Breece Hall, A.J. Brown, Gibbs, Jonathan Taylor, Garrett Wilson, Derrick Henry, Josh Allen, Kyron Williams. Like he's just sitting there. He's literally right there. Oh no, he's a little bit off Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, I think if I'm betting on, I don't hate betting on Amon-Ra. If I'm betting on Offensive Player of the Year, I would look at opportunity and talent. Like, is this guy going to get a fuck ton of opportunities? Like, I mean, and Amon-Ra, you could be right, Boone. Like, he could go out there and just fucking get like, what was the offensive player, the last wide receiver to win it? What was his yard production? Do you guys remember? I'm sorry.
Well, just think, Tyreek Hill didn't win it last year.
Yeah, but Christian McCaffrey.
I think Justin Jefferson won it last. Let me look real quick.
Because he had what did he have? Like 7? What did Justin Jefferson have?
So the last person to win it was wide receiver was Justin Jefferson and Cooper Kupp.
Yeah,
Cooper Kupp.
And that's it. Honestly, guys, if we're being real, just because looking at it, like, could you see a situation where let's say St. Brown's going off, but then we're all assuming that Laporte and the other guys are going to do their thing. Does Jared Goff get that before St. Brown? Because you look at last year with the 49ers, Christian McCaffrey going crazy. But then somehow, when you look at it, Brock Purdy could have finished with more MVP odds.
Maybe MVP, but Offensive Player of the Year, I don't think so.
Okay,
I think Goff would be higher in the MVP at that point than Offensive Player.
Because they did him dirty with Brock. I mean, I'm sorry, dude. Christian McCaffrey should have been the MVP, like undoubtedly.
In 2019, Michael Thomas won Offensive Player of the Year with 1,700 yards and 9 touchdowns. So it's not impossible. And same with Justin Jefferson. When he won it, it was 1,800 yards.
Yeah, he's going to have to get that.
Like with that Michael Thomas season, like he set the record for most receptions in a season. That's why I think it's crazy.
How many is that? How many did he have?
149.
Yeah. And Cooper Kupp, Triple Crown winner. But the thing is with Cooper Kupp, that's where when we're going back to the conversation with like the whole Rams and Lions thing, with like the Rams are pass first team. That's why it's just so hard for me to kind of say that was St. Brown. I just do think it's hard for him to do that just because of the identity of the Lions. But that's why, again, he's the perfect receiver for the Lions, because blocking, he's going to do much more work than the Cooper Kupps or Justin Jeffersons of the world.
Real quick, fellas, I want to just run through this, and then we're going to get to our draft, okay? Because we're going to get to our defensive player draft. We're drafting defenses in the NFC North. I'm excited. We don't have the graphics to kind of go through it, but it's okay. I'll make the teams and then we'll take it from there. But we'll do it live on the show here. But real quick, I just love the last part of this article. That's selfishly, I do want to show it. All right. Yeah, the kicking competition. I'm being honest. No time, no problem. Tim Twentyman writes, Goff and the first team offense were really put in a tough situation. Were put in a really tough situation by Campbell, where they had to start at their own 30-yard line in just 24 seconds on the clock. It ended up being no problem for Goff and company. Connected with St. Brown for a 7-yard gain, and St. Brown was able to get out of bounds to stop the clock. Goff then made a throw over the middle. Shout out to 21 for that. To Williams for 29 yards down to the 34-yard line. That set up a 52-yard field goal attempt by Michael Badgley that missed wide right. And James Turner made.
Oh, James Turner coming for the fucking.
Oh, no.
You see the bottom one, too?
Turner.
James Turner. Overall, as he missed both of his field goal attempts in team periods. He was short from 54 yards.
Whoa. Short? I thought he was out of leg now.
From 52. During OTAs, they gave both kickers a chance from the same distance in situational periods. Turner made both kicks from 54 and 52.
I thought Badgley got his leg up. I thought he improved his leg. That was the rumor.
Jake Bates. Get him on the phone. Get him on the phone now.
If you're missing now, this is bad. 54 on OTAs, that's concerning. There's
no pressure.
Short on a 54? Like, and I get 54s, but dude.
Jake Bates would never be short at
37-yarder, but if you're an NFL kicker, you got to be nailing 54-yarders in OTAs.
Like wide left,
with no pads,
right.
No pressure.
All right, short. Badgley, you got to be able to hit and then 52, he couldn't hit either. And then James Turner just walked out there. He's just like smoked them both.
Easy.
But Jeff, we're crazy for saying that we would love a great quick kicker. We're crazy for thinking
this
that.
guy.
We're crazy for going at Badgley, the money badger. Everyone, he's just fine. You have a good kick. Come on.
No, he's broke. Ain't no money badger.
Yeah, J-Rod said it there. Bring in Jake Bates, Turner versus Bates. Let that be the training camp battle. Move on. There's a reason Badgley's gotten cut twice in 1 year.
Jake Bates shaking his hands like Birdman, right?
That's fair. Yeah.
Yeah, he really is, dude. Yeah, I hope they figure it out. That Ryan hit it when it counts versus the Rams. That is fair. That is
one
fair.
Field goal. That's awesome. Yeah.
Hey, broken clocks right twice a day, and that was not even twice. It was once. So that's an even different analogy there. So I don't know. I'm not confident. I'm not confident at all. Jake Bates, bring him home. No pads and missed. We need to bring Bates in. Yeah,
short, not just missed. He was short on a 54-yard. Short.
I want to see how short. That's so key. I want to see how short. Was it like just short, or was it like fucking short? Like,
how are you short? Oh my God!
Someone got a video of that. That would that'd be blowing up online.
And again, I'm not saying like, oh, it's easy to hit 54-yarders, but like this is what we need to know. If we're keeping him around, you need to know, can you hit a 50-plus yard field goal? And he missed both.